Welcome to You and Your Money. Today's episode features Jonathan Matthews, Associate Vice President and Wealth Advisor at WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors.
Making a financial plan for college. College costs continue to rise faster than inflation, making this a major financial hurdle for many families. Where should parents begin with this planning process?
Everyone's probably heard this many times, but it's really important, like many things, to start early. College planning is ideally something that you begin when your children are very young, but it's never too late to create a strategy. The first step is understanding the full scope of college costs, which go beyond just tuition. It includes things like room, board, books, supplies, transportation, and personal expenses.
And these costs can really add up too. Do you have any figures on what families might expect to pay these days?
I do, but people aren't going to like them. According to recent data, the average annual cost for a four-year public institution is approaching $30,000 for in-state students. When you factor in all expenses, private colleges can easily exceed $60,000 per year. Over 4 years, we're talking about a potential investment of $120,000 to $240,000 per child. And that's why having a strategic approach is critical.
Those numbers can be overwhelming. So what savings vehicles do you typically recommend to help families prepare?
There are a few different options. The 529 plan is a pretty common one that a lot of people are most likely familiar with, and it's at the top of the list. These are education-specific investment accounts that offer tax-advantaged growth, meaning the earnings there aren't taxed as long as the withdrawals are used for qualified education expenses. Many states also offer tax deductions or credits for contributions.
Are there any limitations or drawbacks to 529 plans that people should be aware of?
Yeah, good question. That's the one that comes up a lot is the funds in a 529 must be used for qualified education expenses or you face taxes and penalties on the earnings. But there has been some recent legislation that makes them a little bit more flexible. You can now use limited amounts of them for pre-college, so K through 12 education, certain apprenticeship programs, and even to repay student loans. And if your child receives a scholarship or decides not to attend college, you can change the beneficiary to another family member without any penalties. So you can kind of roll it to the next kid, for example.
What about other savings options beyond 529 plans?
Yeah, that's not the only one. There's a lot of other stuff that somebody can use. There's one called the Coverdell Education Savings Account, which offers similar tax advantages, but it does have lower contribution limits. It's kind of used less frequently than the 529. Some families use Roth IRAs, which allow penalty-free withdrawals or contributions at any time. And those earnings can be used for qualified education expenses. And then there's a UGMA and UTMA, UGMA and UTMA, that are custodial accounts which are another option, which they do transfer to the children's control at age of majority, which may not align with some people's plans.
Jonathan, let's talk about financial aid. How does that factor into the planning process?
Financial aid is a critical component for most college funding strategies. It comes in several forms: grants, scholarships, work-study opportunities, and even loans. The process starts with filling out FAFSA. Anyone that's got kids in high school is probably familiar with it, a free application for federal student aid, and that determines eligibility for federal and many state institutional aid programs.
And timing is pretty important with FAFSA, isn't it?
It is. The FAFSA should be completed as soon as possible after it opens on October 1st each year. Some aid is first come, first served, so early submission can make a difference for folks. It's important to note that the FAFSA uses income information from 2 years prior, what's called prior year. So financial planning decisions made during your kid's sophomore year of high school can impact aid eligibility.
What about scholarships? Any tips for families looking to reduce their out-of-pocket costs?
Well, yeah, you were just talking about sports. Get your kids into some baseball or golf or something, right? Get a sports scholarship. No, but scholarships are essentially free money for college. They should be a key part of any strategy. Beyond the well-known academic and athletic scholarships, there are thousands of private scholarships based on everything from community service to specific talents, heritage, or career interests. I recommend students start researching and applying for scholarships early in their high school years.
One thing I hear from a lot of parents is concern about balancing college savings with their own retirement planning. How do you advise families on this?
That's such an important point. While we all want to provide our children's education, it's really crucial to remember that there are loans available for college, but not for retirement. If you choose prioritize retirement savings, what we tell people is put your own oxygen mask on first before you help others. But with that said, with proper planning, many families can make progress towards both goals simultaneously. Our Plan Well, Invest Well, Live Well process at WHZ is designed to help clients balance these competing priorities and create a comprehensive strategy that addresses all their financial goals, not just in isolation, but as part of a holistic plan.
That's so important to always be looking at the big picture. Now, you mentioned loans. They seem to be an inevitable part of the college experience for many families. What advice can you share about loans?
Unfortunately, that's often true that loans are a necessary part of financial planning for college. If that is the case for your family in particular, remember that federal student loans generally offer more favorable terms and protections than private loans, so they should usually be the first option. Parents can also consider federal Parent Plus loans or private parent loans, though I caution families to carefully consider the impact of taking on debt near retirement age. The most important thing with any loan is understanding the terms, having a clear repayment plan, not borrowing more than is necessary, and it's a good rule of thumb that students' total loan amount shouldn't exceed their expected first-year salary after graduation.
Let's talk strategy. How should families approach this planning process from start to finish?
I recommend a multi-phase approach. First, estimate the costs based on the types of school that your child might attend. Then determine how much you can save each month and choose the appropriate savings vehicles. Next, you maximize financial aid opportunities, understand how your assets and income affect the eligibility, and then finally develop a funding strategy that combines the savings, income, the financial aid, and possible loans. The goal is to create an absolute confidence in the ability to provide educational opportunities for your children.
That's great advice. And what if someone is getting a late start on college planning? Maybe they've got a child who's already in high school.
It's never too late to start and to create a strategy. For families with less time to save, the focus shifts towards things like maximizing financial aid eligibility, being more aggressive in pursuing scholarships, considering more affordable college options like starting at a community college, or exploring tax credits like the American Opportunity Credit and the Lifetime Learning Credit. I'd also emphasize that college selection plays a huge role in affordability. Choosing a school that offers a generous merit aid or a state school can be a significant reduction in the overall cost.
Let me ask about resources. Where can our listeners get more information about making a financial plan for college?
There is all sorts of stuff available. We have a great college savings calculator in the resources section of our website at whzwealth.com. The College Board and Federal Student Aid websites offer tools for estimating costs and understanding financial aid. Many states have college saving resources as well, but the most valuable step might be consulting with a financial advisor who specializes in college planning.
The fees, expenses, and features of 529 plans can vary from state to state. 529 plans involve investment risk, including the possible loss of funds. There is no guarantee that an education funding goal will be met. In order to be federally tax-free, earnings must be used to pay for qualified education expenses. The earnings portion of a non-qualified withdrawal will be subject to ordinary income tax at the recipient's marginal rate and subject to a 10% penalty. By investing in a plan outside your state of residence, you may lose any state tax benefits. 529 plans are subject to enrollment, maintenance, and administration and management fees and expenses. For more information regarding wealth management and customized financial planning with WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors, please visit whzwealth.com. WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors offer securities and advisory services through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Fixed insurance products and services offered through CES Insurance Agency. They practice at 697 Pomfret Street, Pomfret Center, Connecticut 06259, and 392A Marrow Road, Tolland, Connecticut 06084. They can be reached at 860-928-2341, WHZ Strategic Wealth. Advisors do not provide legal or tax advice. The tenured financial services team strives to support clients in achieving their financial life goals while providing absolute confidence and unwavering partnership for life.